Tom, a busy week for you, I'd imagine.
Yeah, it's stacking up that way. I just got home. I went out to California for the last couple of pieces of work. It's we put so much effort into all of this. It's just to try enjoy the journey now, and it's amazing to watch those guys at their craft and spend that bit of quality time with Baffert and Mike Smith and Martin Garcia, and just how intense it all is, but yet how comfortable they are and how professional. Like, it's just really, it's magic to watch.
Well, let's start with the 2-year-old champion in Citizen Bull, who, when he makes the lead, he's undefeated. He made the lead, well, prior to his last start. In his last start, he made the lead. Didn't go so well. Let's just go back to the drawing board here with Citizen Bull and talking with Bob. And what do you think happened last time with Citizen Bull?
Look, I personally, my view, and I believe Bob would probably share this view, is the horse came out of the Breeders' Cup in great shape. And we really only ran him one time between the Breeders' Cup and the Santa Anita Derby. And that may have been a mistake. We were probably going a little bit, he's a horse that does everything very naturally, very efficiently. We may have kind of underestimated, another race may have been to his benefit. We definitely feel he's come forward again from the Santa Anita Derby. And we feel his schedule has been good coming into the Kentucky Derby. His work this weekend was very good. Kind of sat off a horse, passed a horse, did everything kind of, just very straightforward. Garcia seems to fit the horse. I'm not sure, sometimes you kind of worry about jockeys and mentalities, but there's something about these two beings that seem to go very, very well together. And he quickened very well. He reacts to Martin. And Martin has been great. He's gone to California and worked this horse several times. He's put a massive effort into making sure that this was his mount. And believe me, there was some competition for that mount. And I'm glad, just from a level of karma, etc., that Martin is the one that gets to ride him. He turned him into a champion 2-year-old, and he's definitely on the road to redeeming his position here. Hopefully, he can really show up the first Saturday in May.
So you talk a little bit about a situation you're likely going to have conversations about, which is that at least Citizen Bull's best races have come while he's found the front end. You have another horse in your group with Rodriguez, who ran his best race finding the front end. What's the plan there? What's Bob saying to you? Obviously, the draw is going to make a huge difference. Where they end up drawing, I'm sure, will impact the strategy, the instructions there. But how do you handle those two styles being so similar?
Yeah, look, it's a very fair and very good question. I think both horses definitely have speed. And, Rodriguez has come from, he's been behind horses a little bit more than Citizen Bull in some of his races. So I think to have that experience, I think Rodriguez has learned. He is still a very young horse. He's a May 20th baby, so his birthday makes him young. But he's, over the last 4 or 5 weeks, coming into and coming out of the wood, it really feels like he's matured very well. So I think he's a horse that, it's great to have someone like Mike on there who's going to be able to make that gate time decision. It's not game time, it's gate time. As soon as that gate opens, you're going to have to work out where you are. And do I think he can sit off a horse? Yeah, I really do. I think he's a horse he has natural speed. He could do either. I really feel strongly about it. And we just want a good clean break. We want a good clean break, and Mike can work his way into that first turn and work out what the best strategy is. There's no point in going 21-2, is there?
Want to let folks know this video brought to you by our friends at TwinSpires.com. The Kentucky Derby Betting Challenge coming up on Derby Day. You can qualify all month long. TwinSpires.com. Navigate over to that tournaments tab. Get involved with horse racing's latest major tournament.
Well, obviously the Derby is the big race. At least the next one on the agenda. But there's a couple of horses I do want to touch with while I have you here. whether they're going to be running on the undercard or waiting the 2 weeks for the Preakness. Can you give us an update on Cornucopian and Goal Oriented?
Yeah, Cornucopian worked this weekend. Again, he works like he's only a good horse can work. You know, he really has that efficiency and motion that's quite, it's beautiful to watch. So yeah, look, we have a couple of spots potentially pinpointed for him that could potentially lead him into Preakness if things went well. But I mean, that's a big ask, and it's a lot of things have to go right. But he's healthy, he's well, he's enormously exciting. Really love that goat. Goal Oriented also worked this weekend, and I think it sounds bashful, but he's a colt that he was ready to go as a 2-year-old. We had a little setback. We really needed to give him his time and let him come back to himself, and he has. And has he come back in a major way? I thought his race, very seldom a race gives you tingles and you kind of go, shit, what do we have here? And he had that. He gave me that. You know, he really, physically, you look at him like he looks every bit of a midsummer horse. You know, whether it's a Belmont, Travers, that sort of campaign. I think they're the sort of targets that he could have in his arsenal going forward. So he's exciting. We'll certainly try to get another mile into him, or get a mile into him somehow in the near future, and work it out from there. But he's very exciting. It's an exciting family. You know, it's a family that Saul loves. He's out of a half sister to Lady Eli, and you know, not this time as, you know, he's just taken himself to a new level now, hasn't he? He's a very, very, very elite stallion. So.
Well, Tom, we wish you the best of luck wherever all these Starlight, Madaket, et al. Horses show up. Thanks for taking the time.
Thank you very much.